real estate jungle and leveling up your lead gen. Today we are going to be focusing on multiple different things. Got a little bit of a buffet of topics for you guys. As everybody knows, or if you've been a part of my calls or the live streams with me before, I really like to focus on what is it going to take to grow your business. How are you going to scale up your message? How are you, ultimately going to grow a bigger business? That's what this is about. That, as really we look at the technology, the websites, the lead gen strategies, all the money that you have to actually invest into your business, you want a multiplier on it. In most cases, I don't know about you guys, I like to put $1 in and get $10 back. That is the strategy of which we really want to offer. That's why I'm going to be talking about not only generating the leads today, but also converting those leads. You can be the best lead generator if you're a crappy converter. It's going to be all for naught. You could be the best converter if you don't have enough lead flow. It's going to be all for naught. So it is absolutely the left hand washes the right hand, and being able to meet those consumers where they're at and supporting at a very, very big and wide scale to your audiences. Do me a favor. Like I said, I want this to be a little bit of, a buffet of training menu today, items to look at. I would like to look at not only the tools that you have inside of your Zoodealio site, like as far as the dashboard and converting and getting those people ultimately to the offer dashboard and using that tool to build a relationship and then ultimately convert them into the cash offer, cash plus, sell now, move later, fix it then list it, or listing the house on the market, and understanding the incubation cycle that most consumers are going to go through, and understanding that it's not cash offer number 1, 2, or even 3 that they usually do something. It's usually 5 and beyond of you serving that up to them and showing them the unique options that you can bring to them, that you really build almost rapport. And not only that, so many studies show that people really start the process far before they're ready to pull the trigger. And when you really think about it, it makes a lot of sense, because this is a big decision, right? Most of the time, in order to sell your house, you need to identify where you're going to go next, or maybe it's, you do have the one-off scenarios, and that's what we're going to get into today from some of the lead sources is our likely sellers, meaning a divorce situation, a death situation, or an investment property, or, even the planned moves, right? Move up, move down, basically lifestyle changes, right? As people move through the progression of acquiring the living cycle and then the selling cycle. Those a lot of times come with educating yourself on the market, different strategies, those types of things. And so that's where I really want us to not only deploy the messaging to first people that we know, right? These are frameworks I know we've gone over in the past, and make sure that if you want to go back into some of those, you can check into some of the other scaling up your audience sessions where I really dive into marketing to people that you know, which is where you're going to want to start with, blast, etc. But then as we progress into other areas of growing your audience, i.e. growing your database or growing your list, there are several ways that we give you to do that. My question for you guys is, what are those goals that you have? How are you going to achieve them this year versus last year? Whether you hit your goals last year, whether you exceeded your goals last year, or you fell short of your goals last year. What are the things that you want to do inside of Zoodealio to help you close more deals? What is it that we can serve and support you with more? Is it lead generation? Is it lead conversion? Is it use of the tool? Is it understand the marketing strategies? Is it making the tech stack operate with other things so you can have smoother systems processes for you, your team, your brokerage? What is it that we can help you double down on that will ultimately help you do more transactions in 2024? Okay, so we are going to talk about some workflows on converting sellers and ultimately how to get strangers, people that you don't know, wanting to talk to you. The second part of this, I am going to, I may have to do it as a little bit of an ad lib here on doubling down on the list of people that you know. So as a quick update, we have an entire new upload process rolling out to Blast that should be out in, I would imagine, the next 2 weeks. We are in the quality assurance phase of that, meaning that we're testing it, making sure that it goes through, and it's going to be a much more simple process where we really mapped that out and to kind of serve and support so you guys can upload your lists easier click go. And then of course, one of the things that's going to be coming out soon on that is the partial leads that come in. You'll be able to have Blast, ultimately work with them, and maybe even having a direct mail piece go to them in the event that they don't have any email or anything like that, right? So that's where the partial leads are, where it's going to capture the information. They don't complete the cash offer request, which, believe it or not, there's a lot of data shows that a lot of times you'll get 2 or 3 people that start entering the information, then they bounce out before they hit submit. Just, that's them kind of tire kicking. But again, that coincides with what I was just talking about, where so many people will start the process 6 months, 18 months in advance before they're actually really ready to decide that. And that's all good, because that's how we're going to build our list, and it's just nothing more than an incubation cycle. And that's how we're going to scale up our business, right? Where we have that top of funnel strategy where you want that information, you want to build interest and awareness around your value proposition at scale, so that when people come through that process and they engage with your email marketing, text message marketing, direct mail marketing, right? Networking events, a video in your face on social media, right? All of those types of things is how you're pulling people down to ultimately showcase this value proposition that you are bringing them, so that they can get your really ultimately in this arena, you're selling solutions, you're selling options with a click of a button. Okay? So let me move this guy over. Let's go into the first one. Okay? So you have cold outreach. Okay? Now I want to let me go this slide first, because I think that this sometimes can, depending on how you want to do it, and if you are more in this arena, it can be very much so very effective, right? So this is the Blast landing page, okay? A version of the Blast landing page. What this is you guys are able to run now a ad. So whether you are running, one of my favorite strategies that I do talk about often in this is what I refer to as, kind of dropping a pin. So what it is it's a geofence, right? So a geographical fence around a certain area within Meta. Now the reason why I'm a fan of this is because there's less regulations on that when it comes to fair housing, because you're literally just dropping a pin and then you're deploying your strategy within that radius. There is obviously an approval process for the ad, but it's not as much where you have all the fair housing and are you targeting and all those things that have now been the regulatory hurdles that have been put in place when it comes into Meta. The other thing I love about this is if you do this correctly, and it is an additional retarget ad set that you're going to have on them, but if you have your pixel placed on the site, right, which again, to me, that is a must. You must have your pixel placed on that. Now, here's the beautiful thing about the pixel. Let's say that you're running a 30-mile radius around your sales office or around your home. They come inside that geofence, and they happen to be 35 miles away, right? They live just outside of that. And you now are able to retarget them because your pixel came in, picked them up, right? It's like that, almost kind of like that. We all know those, beach cockleburrs or stickers that you get in the desert, right? That you're walking through and they stick on you wherever you go, right? That's kind of like the mindset for me around the pixel, where you want to keep retargeting and reserving up your ad to these particular people. And so for that whole piece, right, that's exactly where the marketing library, and those types of things come into play. Now, one of the other things you guys may want to look into doing, right, and again, there may be a day in the future where you are able to reverse look up that lead inside of Zoodealio with the click of a button. But there are many strategies for the time being to where you can actually look up these partial leads that maybe come in But the goal, of course, is to give them the ability to monitor their home's value and neighborhood insights, right? So that way they are now getting a free monthly report. So one of the things I was talking about on a podcast a couple of days ago is actually a Russell Brunson. I think he's how he's delivered this. There's many forms of it, but it's what he refers to as the value ladder. So what I want to do real quick is educate everybody on this process that you really almost have to ultimately walk people through. So there's always a level of buy that goes on when you are walking people through the value ladder, right? And that buy, first of all, is your said ad, right? It has to be compelling when they're scrolling enough. First of all, you are paying to get your message in front of them. Then your ad must be compelling enough, right? So if we're talking about a motion graphic, right? Those are definitely, or a motion, a GIF, something that is quick. Those a lot of times are performing better as long as you're showing them that particular process of what's going on when they click the ad. Then you want your landing page to be congruent with the ad. That way they don't bounce. But that first step of the value ladder is getting them to stop it, the scroll. The next step within that value ladder is getting them to click, right? So is there something that is learn more that's compelling? Is the button compelling, right, to be able to get the click, right? So that's the whole point first. That's why everybody wants to talk about how many clicks am I getting. Then from there, what is my click-through rate, right? So meaning now that they come to my landing page or my, that's simply enough as splash page, landing page, to where you have a compelling value proposition that they're actually going to sign up, okay? So then once they sign up for that, you need to now deliver in that value proposition, okay? So that's you've technically, right, moved people into your funnel. When that happens, that's where technically the sale truly, it always begins at, the deployment of the ad, but we've now started the conversion cycle, okay? So once they're inside there, of course, you can, whether you want to look at it from a sales process, when people sign up, if you get their telephone number, if you want to make contact, you can absolutely do that, right? A lot of times I want to wait till they're going to incubate, because I'm doing this at such a grand scale top funnel. A lot of times I'll wait until they engage with blast multiple times, or they'll trigger as a likely seller if they open it up 3 times in 1 month, or they open it 3 consecutive months, right? That's where I'm going to focus. But in the beginning, while this is priming and you have more time, you absolutely would want to make, just like a welcome call, right? So like, for example, let's say, Pat, you'll be my guy here. You're one of the ones that popped up on my chat here. It would be very simple, right? Just giving you guys an idea of what this call would look like. Hey, Pat, it's Elliot over at the Morgan Real Estate Group. Hey, I just wanted to give you a quick call because I see that you had signed up to monitor your home's value. This is a really awesome new tool that's going to show you the insights and different unique selling options that you'll have at your fingertips. You may not be in the market to sell your house and just looking to see what's going on in your neighborhood and monitor your home's value, which is directly connected to your net worth. But while I got you, just wanted to make sure that you were able to get in. Check it out, and if you ever have any questions, there's several places in there that you just can click that you want us to contact you, so it's the most convenient for you, and we just want to know that we're here to serve and support you. Hope you have a great day, right? Very, very subtle, nothing other than service, okay? The thing I want everybody to be clear on this is if you call these types of leads up that are way up here, right, in the process, and I sit here and try to hard sell them, they're going to unsubscribe, right? That's the piece I want us to be very, very clear on is people's, filter and meter is a lot of times is very turned up in today's society. Now, we are absolutely using our tech to be able to monitor these people's behaviors. So meaning if they're engaging month after month after month or multiple times in a month, that's where the conversation looks a little bit different, right? I'll give you just a quick call on that here in just a moment. But as a refresher, if they log in, 3 times in a month, right, those are to me kind of mediocre. But if they're logging in multiple times per a month, that's usually them indicating that they're looking at something, they're watching. It's just a higher intent, a higher engaging lead, right? So there again, Pat, I'm going to use you again, my man. So I just would be like, hey, Pat, it's Elliot over at the Morgan Real Estate Group. Hey, I see that you've been checking out different exclusive selling options for your house, and I wanted to call and see if you had any specific questions around these unique selling strategies. Yes, no, maybe so. Hey, while I got you, I wanted to share with you real quick an option that we have in there, which is an exclusive option that you can only get through this. And what it is it's the ability for you to cash out your house. Then the buyer actually comes in, improves it, and then they turn around and resell it. And what's really unique about this is when they go to sell it, more times than not, it's going to sell for more due to them improving the property. And they actually give you back all of those proceeds. So they technically are increasing your equity, and it's a really cool option to see if it works for you and your family. Is that something that you'd like to check out more and see what that would potentially look like for you and your family? Boom, right? So that's a little bit more subtle, and as you guys can see, I went more intent on that lead when they showed intent, right? That's, again, meeting that consumer where they're at. So, again, I know that's kind of like a bit of a catch term, a buzzy term that's been around for the last couple of years, but that's kind of giving you a strategy of really ultimately where, what and how to use that piece of it. Okay, so again, the part I want everybody to connect with and resonate here is these cycles in which that you are able to kind of take people through, the leverage pieces, the tools that you have, right? Because there are times, right? Like, let me be real with you guys for a second. There's been times as I'll be talking to people, or like my outreach team, sales team will be talking with agents and whatever else, and they'll be like, yeah, we had Zoodealio and it just didn't work, right? The way that we wanted it to. And sometimes I got to be real with you guys for a second. I get taken back on that because at the end of the day, it always works if they work. And here's what I mean by that. Are you using the value propositions to ultimately put you in selling conversations? Does it mean that the cash offer is always going to work for that client? Of course not. Does it mean that it's ever going to work for the clients of yours? Maybe not. But what it does do is it starts the conversation through the unique value proposition. And when you use these assets, when you use these tools, what it's going to do is it's going to create brand awareness around you. And so that's what is 100% going to work. And when we commit to growing our audience with these value propositions, my business is going to grow. So that's the part, again, like I said, I get taken back by, so please don't make that mistake. Commit to putting these things in place, commit to growing your audience, and this is where, like I said before, you're going to put $1 in and you're going to get $10 back. Whether that comes through more listings and buy sides, right? Because 60% of the people that are selling are also buyers. Do yourself a favor, scale up your message, and you'll do more business. All right, let's move on. Let's see. Yes, this is good. Okay. So what I want to share was, let's go actually into, where's my partial leads? Okay, cool. All right, so those of you that are on here, you may, Will, my man, I think you're on here, or some of your agents are on here. I stole this screenshot from your site. What this is when you're running some traffic to your site, this is what this is going to maybe look more like, right? Where you're going to have people that have partial leads, and then they bounce, right? So they'll start the process, and then when it comes to a registration, sometimes, again, they'll bounce, or maybe they get a phone call, right? Maybe they're doing it from a mobile standpoint, phone call comes in, and then they forget about it, and they don't finish the registration, or, hey, I'll come back to this later, right? This is, again, where that piece kind of comes into play. So this is where I want us to realize something that I'm actually feverishly working on that I had put out to the group last week. I do actually have a couple of slots on this, and I'm going to touch on this too at the end. But again, I'm kind of quantifying this as Blast Plus right now, and I'm in the beta piece of it. And ultimately what it is it's where an instant automatic postcard is going to be sent out to this style of lead. Now, in the beta, we are going to just be able to pick the groups of people that we want to send the postcard to, which is a test. It'll pull them in, and you'll be notified on that whole process. Phase 2 of that is where we will trigger it onto this, where a lead will partially register, and then the postcard will instantly be sent to that house to get them to finish registering. It'll pull them into the offer dashboard, and then when they get into the offer dashboard, it's going to try to get them to finish registering that lead. Now, the part I want everybody to know on that's so next level is, as soon as they enter that address, we can generate the offers and options that are available for their house. So we can send a postcard to them. More times than not, we're going to know their name, right? And it's, as you'll see here in a second, it's a very, actually I could show us now. This is a postcard that we can design around their specific zip code, right? These are all dynamic things that we can pull in, their address and their street view, right? So this is where we are really playing a big game on elevating the intent, right? Showing that we know them about their house, right? And then we're talking about, hey, get your home's real value, scan here and get your home's instant value and get a free monthly report, right? So the play is they'll scan in, they'll see their offers and options. As soon as they move, it's going to prompt them, hey, would you like to get a free monthly report? Yes, boom. What's the best email address to send that to? Boom, we just got a new lead for you, right? That is the play, and that's how that's going to work on these partial leads. So even though they started the process, the mail's what finished the process, and then the third component of that is once they opt in with their email, Blast will instantly initiate, and they'll get that monthly report. So really cool next level stuff. I'm excited, and for the record on that, none of this is overly difficult on a build, and these frameworks, and as I get through the beta, should be out and available for everybody. So if you are interested in being a part of that beta, like I said, I'm going to limit it to the first 50, and I think I have about 10-15 spots left open. Do me a favor, email me now, right? Just because it allows me to compile it better. Don't put it in the chat. Email me your name and that you're interested in being a part of Blast Plus beta. And if you email me at elliot@zoodealio.com, that's where I can get you in on that. And again, that's ELIOT@zoodealio.com. Email me there and tell me you want to be a part of the Blast Plus. For those of you that already are in the beta, this is actually going to be one of my high intent pieces this week. I'm going to be getting the group together. We will have obviously, an expectation outline, group discussion, ensuring that everybody wants to be a part of it, what it looks like, what the costs are around the mailing, all of that up front. Like I said, there's going to be no cost to Zoodealio at all from us to you on this. The only thing that you're going to be paying for is obviously the postcard and the postage to get there. So that'll be it, and you'll be able to be a part of the group, like I said, and then I'll be hovering over it, working closely with each and every one of you on this to ensure the success of it. All right. So again, if you are interested, email elliot@zoodealio.com, your name, and that you want to be a part of the Blast Plus beta. All right, let me go back into our... No. Okay, let's move along here on the other pieces. And I see I got a lot of questions here, so hopefully I can get through the pieces of what I want to in about the next 5 minutes so I can really focus on a lot of these questions. Okay, so what I want to talk about right now is actually the lead capture. So that also, as an FYI, we've been feverishly for literally the last probably 3-4 months been working on a new agent landing page, and it's because we want something epic, and I think we've finally hit the nail on the head. And so I'm really, really excited to start the process of a new, truly compelling landing page that we believe will work on a national scale and ultimately get you guys more leads. So really cool stuff. All right, but let's talk about this real quick. Okay, so when we're driving traffic back to our landing page, okay, when you do this right, there are, when you really look at the averages, I think a lot of times people don't have the best success, right? So like here's in this I kind of showed like, hey, what is the actual average cost per click and what's the cost per the lead? Well, the part I really like about this, right, when you look at these is you think, oh, these stats aren't that great. Why would I bother? Well, here's what I want to educate everybody on. When you're looking about and keeping that framework in your mind of I'm going to put $1 in and get $10 back. Well, look at this scenario that I'm outlining here for you, right? Where you potentially can have an ad spend at some form of scale of $2,000, and if when you work it right, you're going to close a deal with the client, that particular client. And then you're going to get a repeat referral. And again, most of the times when you're prospecting for seller leads, every one of those leads that you convert, 60% of them are also going to buy a house at some point in time either immediately or in the very near future. So what that means is you're virtually getting 1.5 transactions every time you convert one of those people. So that I didn't even factor that inside of this financial modeling here. But then from there, most people live in their house, in a 5 to 7 years, but let's say it's a 12-year window, right? And when we have long-term nurtures and we're focusing on building that database, we're going to get another transaction from them, and we're also more than likely going to be able to get a referral from them. And so when you look at the CLV, right, or CLTV, excuse me, customer lifetime value, it is ridiculously substantial, and why it makes so much sense to be able to attract new clients. So again, this is something I outlined here for you guys so that you can see. Now, when we're driving them back to a landing page like this is exactly where I want us to have a high conversion, a very, very simple page. This is the other thing I want to make sure that I give everybody the pro tip on, is the importance of when you're running an ad, okay? Let's say that you're running ads and the call to action doesn't line up with the landing page. They're going to bounce. When it just feels different, they're going to bounce, right? Like I said, people's meters and filters are very, very high, and there's just so many things today that if my header in the ad is not congruent with the header on my landing page, it's not going to make sense. So the reason why I'm bringing this up is we give you the ability to build custom landing pages. So whether this be in your CRM or, again, this may be team owners, broker owners that I'm talking to right now, but this gives you the ability to you also build branding around your brokerage team exclusively, where you're just taking the address bar and being able to put input on that landing page whatever you want. So let me give you a full scenario, right? Having the CTA in the ad, right? The call to action see all your home selling options with a simple click of a button. Instantly see your home's value, unique selling options, and what it could sell for on the open market in less than 10 seconds, right? That would be like ultimately the ad. Well, then that's where you would potentially drive them back to get multiple cash offers. Everything's congruent as far as that goes, okay? Yes, that would also work for this page here where now they're pulling in their unique branding, right? Get the instant offer, that would also work. But let's say that I'm going to do an ad where it's, hey, does your house need renovations and improvements? What if you could, improve your house and sell it for top dollar? How much would that change your financial net worth, right? You could almost kind of take those types of plays where you're going to now need to potentially change that landing page around what that value proposition was, okay? And then that's where the email marketing and all your follow-ups and everything would want to be congruent with that. So the reason why I'm just sharing this with everybody is, again, a little bit more of an advanced strategy, but you 100% have the ability to do that within the frameworks of your Zoodealio account by taking the widget, taking the content that we give you to build those follow-up campaigns, etc. Okay, let's see. I think that is the last. We already talked on partial leads, and I don't want to hit on any of that today. All right, so do me a favor. If you have any questions, if all of that resonated with you that I just went through, do me a favor, give me thumbs up. I'll see them come up. I'm going to start hitting on some of these questions and kind of discussing a couple of pieces on this. Okay, cool. Also, do me a favor, if you guys found value in what I just went through and you like when I go through those frameworks and ultimately how you can kind of build that, give me more thumbs up on that and let me know that I'm on point. If it doesn't work for you and it doesn't resonate, give me thumbs down, because that way I need that feedback. That way I can serve and support and do the best job I can for you guys. Okay, cool. Thank you. Okay, Delisa, let's see. Hi, Len. Okay, Delisa Conway. Direct mail. Okay, direct mail letter sign up for Blast. So glad that you bring that up. I can talk about that again, Delisa. I tore into that probably pretty good, and I think I answered your questions already. In the event that you have more questions on that, Delisa, go ahead and do me a favor and put them in the chat if you have something specific. So the only thing I want to let everybody know is who I'm going to do this beta with at this point is a company called Thanks.io. Getting that list together, like I said, I'm going to be reaching out to everybody within that list. I'll be building that out today. If you are a part of that beta, you should be expecting an email from me inside of the next 48 hours, because like I said, I'm going to go through, get the list together, and ultimately how what those look like, right? Like I'm probably going to pull this all together in maybe a webinar. I'll record it so people can watch it that aren't able to make it and know what the expectations are of them. Okay, Laura Roberts, get the system set up to respond with your CRM. So, Laura, we are not a CRM. So what I'm thinking that you're talking about there is probably getting ours to operate with your CRM. If that is the case, right, what you need to set up is Zapier integrations. We are in conversations with a couple of CRMs around direct integrations. However, it's almost the same thing as a Zap. So that's why it's a challenge sometimes to make it quote unquote worth it. So the Zap is where what data points you want going from your lead source to Zoodealio to your CRM, or from your CRM to Zoodealio. So Laura, if that's what you're looking for, I would highly, highly recommend that you get with support. Talk to them about what it is that you want to do, because there are literally a bunch of different ways that you can do this. And when we get really clear on what the automation is that you want to create, what the workflows are that you want to create, we can build the Zaps around those automated workflows for you. Let's see, Soledad, conversion. So I'm glad that you bring that up. So conversion, you know what, Soledad, are you, if you're willing, raise your hand for me, because I would like to know, again, conversion is a massive topic. And this is near and dear to my heart, my man. So if you're open to it, would you raise your hand, and I will pull you on the call with me, and I can get kind of specific. I allowed you to talk. So yeah, if you wouldn't mind, tell me specifically what type of conversions are we talking about and how can I help you?
I think that once, this weekend I had some conversations with some sellers, but they were reluctant to speak to me. They just wanted everything by text. They didn't even want to provide an email, and they wanted me to just like tell them what the offers were and not if it was with whatever they were looking for. They wanted a further conversation.
Totally get it. Okay. And so remember before how I was talking about the level of intent?
Yes.
These are low intent. They're in the beginning processes, and that's okay. So how we have to pull them through, be like, hey, sounds like you're just starting to look into some of your selling options. Is that correct, or are you just curious about your home's value? So I would literally say that via text, via email.
Okay.
Then from there, I'm going to say, hey, these buyers can give you, a range idea of what they would be willing to pay for your house, what the different options that your house may qualify for, but understand that they are just range. They can be off because your house could be upgraded or your house could need a lot of work. Right? Houses are living, breathing things, and we can't give you very specifics until we know a little bit more. So let me ask you, right? So I know that's a little bit long. Obviously, I'd condense it slightly. But from there, I'm going to ask them a question and be like, so let me ask you, are you looking to know your home's value or see your selling options? Because that right there tells me a lot. Okay? So let's say that they see my home's, I want to see what options are available for my house. Then I'm literally going to go very, very bite-sized and say, well, from a scale out of 1 out of 10, what would you rate your house's condition? 8. Awesome. What would you rate your house's lot size? 1 out of 10. Awesome. What are the top 3 features about your house? Has a pool, upgraded kitchen, right? And I'm just whatever their answers are. Okay, awesome. Hey, let me go to bat for you and see what I could do. While I'm going to work for you on this, would you mind doing me a favor and snapping me a picture of that upgraded kitchen, that backyard, so that I could push on the buyers to get the offer up as high as possible, right? What we're doing is we're reeling them in at that particular point, okay? So then from there, what I'm going to do once I get that, I'll be like, hey, good news. I was able to get the buyers up, right? And you could use, 100% of the cash plus value and say, hey, it looks like the buyer's offer, right? And for the record, if you get those pictures, go ahead and send those to the offers department, let them review it, and be like, hey, this house is good, and again, we're just playing a best case scenario here. If the house needs TLC, and all those things, right? Whatever, this is the dynamic piece of it, right? And this is where you as the local expert are working with the offers team ultimately to go to bat for them, right? At the end of the day, we're playing to get in front of them. And I'm going to change my message ever so slightly in the event that it's a house that they know it needs some TLC. But let's continue on in the scenario of where it's good. So then from there, when it's good, I'm gonna circle back to them and be like, hey, it looks like I was able to get you a cash offer at market value from what I see. Here's that number, right? Then then I may put that number out there. Then I'm gonna say, it looks like this offer, I'm gonna say, X amount, period. It looks like this offer is potentially good for the next 24 hours. And I'm gonna draw a line in the sand on them. Now, a lot of times so then I have to ask them a next closing question, and I'm gonna say, is this something that you're looking to act on right away? Then they're gonna say no. Let's just say they say no. Then I'm gonna say, I thought that might be the case. Hey, while I got you, what is your goal for this move? Are you looking to I'm basically going to start trying to uncover what their next move is. Then here's ultimately what I want you to get to in the whole thing, right? What is the amount, right? So after, again, and I'm not going to go, so for the record, I'm not going to go into the structured sale that they're going to get, 75, 80% of their cash now, portions held back. None of that. That's going to confuse them, and they're going to leave. Okay.
Yeah.
You talk about those types of things in person, and really in person only, right? Or via Zoom, and I can go over all of these things with them in a screen share, and they could see the structure, and it all makes sense, right? Without a doubt, less is more. I'm not saying to mislead people at all. I mean, because at the end of the day, it is, all the numbers are valid. It just happens through a structured process, right? There's always terms and conditions to all things that we do. That happens to be a term and condition. So anyway, here's what I want us to do. The goal for us always in these circumstances is to get to what is it that makes sense for them to relocate and move comfortably. Once I have that figured out, it literally is all about relationship building and showing them how I can help them achieve their goals. Now, this is, a lot of that was for you specifically, but for everybody on this call, I want you guys to resonate with what I just said. I'm leading with the cash offer. I'm giving them their cash offer. Let's say that the cash offer is $50K apart from, or, due to the holdback, or the cash offer is too low. The sell now, move later doesn't make sense, and it's not a candidate for fix it and list it. What we need to find out in there is ultimately, hey, I see that you're looking to move, or you're looking to achieve X number of dollars for X reason. Well, and we're short, right? Then that's where I go. This is my conversion script that I want everybody in here to do, and I've shared this with people in the past, and it is in the script library. Hey, I pushed on this cash buyer. So here's the script. I pushed on the cash buyer, and here is the offer that I was able to get them up to. Is this a number that makes sense for you and your family? After we break this down, it looks like your initial cash payout is going to be X dollars. Is that a number that works for you? No, this does not work. Unfortunately, it's about $50,000 short, as we had shared with you. And thanks so much, Soledad, for bringing this to us. But this just isn't going to work. You say, hey, well, I thought that might be the case. So let me just ask you, a bit of a rhetorical question here. If I could show you a way that we could get you that extra $50,000, and we could do it in as little as 2 or 3 Saturdays, is that something that would make sense for you and your family? Well, yeah, because that's the number that we're looking to achieve. Okay, awesome. I thought that might be the case. So what I'd like to do is show you how we can make that happen. Boom. Then from there, you just simply switch into really articulating on the market data, right? Price, absorption rate, sales strategy on how you're going to do that for them. It's literally, once you get to that point, it's like it's a 5-minute listing presentation. Then from there, obviously you have to determine their time frames. Are there little things that need to be done to the house to get it into condition, right? Like you guys are pros when it comes, or hopefully you're pros when it comes to, positioning the property for listings and those types of things. But that's the sequence that I'm going to pull people through, how I'm using that cash offer, the setting myself up for success, because I'm positioning myself not as the cash buyer, but as the facilitator of the cash offer and this option that's for them, right? 99% of the people know that when they're going to sell their house off market for cash, they're going to give some kind of concessions. And the beauty of the Cash Plus is literally the only thing that they're paying more than they would on the market is the program fee. And most of the time, if it's done right, the program fee can be offset by improving the property. So it doesn't mean that it's still going to work for everybody, right? There's a lot of people that they need 95% of their equity up front in order to make the deal work, right? That they're only planning on paying the 4 to 6% of commission, depending on what the charge is.
Correct.
So does that help? I know that was a little bit lengthy, but no, I felt like help. Yeah. I wanted to give you the entire frameworks of best practices.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, Joe, I believe it's conversion. I find it easy to get in front of people to discuss how to present the offers and pivot to the listing if they don't want the offers. Okay, Joe, hopefully that it sounds like you're already doing, and Joe, I think we've discussed in the past, you're probably doing some kind of framework like that too. Joe, if you wouldn't mind, raise your hand and I'll pull you on the call and see if there's something different that you're doing than I am that you're having success with. I would love to hear your take and get your insight. Sharon, direct mail. I know we spoke via email on that, and yes, I'll get you a part of the group. I already have you a part of the group, and again, be on the lookout for that email so we can meet and discuss. David, leads. Does it connect to KV Core? So David, what you're talking about again is the integrations. So you can absolutely pull your leads from KV Core, put them into Blast, and then when they engage with Blast, you can absolutely send a zap back so that you have one simple place. And of course, KV being your client relationship manager, and you're not having to log into 15 different systems. Let's see, Pat. Get Zapier set up to KV Core also. The technical part is the toughest for me. So Pat, David, everybody on here, our support team, I'm actually growing that as we speak right now, is delighted to help you. The part of what makes it difficult for us is and we even have shared zaps, right? Like meaning you have to take your KV Core, right? Even though KV Core, Zoodealio, and Zapier are all the same, well, David and Pat's KV Core, David and Pat's Zoodealio is different because of the login credentials. So you need to take these different frameworks, make sure that you put in your login credentials. After that, there are Zap workflows that are built out for you. If you want some specialized, hey, I want it to go here, I want it to do this, I want to call this field, I want to do this type of thing, and I need to get my seller leads only, not buyer leads, right? Which of course is going to be the case. I see people making that mistake where they're trying to zap in buyer leads inside of Zoodealio, and it doesn't work because Zoodealio only works with addresses of residences. So in the event you guys need help on that, make sure you reach out to support and we can help you do that. Okay, how to use the launch campaign, i.e. the trigger process. So Ellen, on the launch campaign, well, first of all, I want everybody to know that we basically, the launch campaign was a massive test for building Blast, and Blast is now out. And even though there's a couple of final things that I'm working through when it comes to the CSV, Blast, because it captures the behavior, reports it back to you. It's fully dynamic and interactive emails. It pulls them into a live dashboard versus just a nice, cool done email. You can absolutely do your emails for those of you that have huge lists, and then once they show engagement, I'm going to take those people from my launch campaign and move them over to Blast. However, everybody on here, one of the things that's changing, we are going to make Blast 500 a part of your subscription. So I can give you a code now for those of you that are on here that want to start Blast. It's when you go into Blast, right? You just will log into Zoodealio, click on Blast, then it'll pull you into a subscription page. There's a promo code. The promo code is 321 Blast Off. 321 Blast Off. I'll put it in the chat. Okay, Blast promo code is 321 Blast Off, and that will get you Blast 500. What you're going to be able to do is put 500 contacts inside of Blast to be able to get them have automated marketing. What you're going to want to do is get this CSV file, first name, last name, email address, telephone number if you have it. That is going to be the required data that you need to be able to run that. So it's a huge opportunity for you to take advantage of and start getting, having that automated piece. Now, those of you that have the thousands, right? Let's say you got 5, 10,000 people, you got a bigger list. What I would do is deploy the launch campaign in there. So inside of campaigns, you have the launch campaign. That's a copy and paste into your CRM. Okay, we gave you all of the artwork. Everything is done for you. You do need to download, upload videos. That way everything stays white labeled and designed to you. You can use the Zoodealio media player if you want with that. But at the end of the day, I recommend that you make that your own content. That way everything's positioned around you. So you'll build that into your CRM. And then let me see. Get my chat back up here. Okay. Yeah. Okay, there we go, Ellen. How do you, yeah. So once that happens and they engage with that, you can actually capture engagements from your CRM, and that's what you're going to want to trigger off of, right? So to be clear, every modern CRM captures opens and clicks, okay? And what you're going to want to be capturing is clicks, and know which emails they're clicking on. That way, when you call them, you know what to talk to them about. So for example, if I say, Austin, hey, I see that you've been checking out the Become a Cash Buyer program here in Arizona or there in Mesa, and I was curious, are you in the market to buy a house and looking to potentially pay cash so that you get an awesome deal, right? So now you're using his engagement to start the conversation. And then, again, not going off on a tangent as far as a script, but that's where I want us to realize the marketing message that they are engaging with, that's what we want to use as the conversation starter. Because sometimes you know them, sometimes you don't know them, right? If I do know them, hey, it's a much easier conversation. Let's say it's like Austin that I know. I'd be like, hey, Austin, it's Elliot over at, hey, at Zoodealio. Hey, just wanted to, how have you been? How's things? Hey, the reason for the call, and my pivot, is I see that you've been checking out the Cash Plus home selling program. It's an entirely new cash offer program that we've just rolled out this year. And I see that you've been checking it out, and I want to see if you had any questions on it and how I could serve and support. Boom, right? All different little ways that we can do to bring the conversation. At the end of the day, it's as simple as just using the tool to inspire that conversation. Okay, Pat. I got to hustle here. I know I'm coming up on it as far as time. Okay, Pat, I'm a ZBuyer client and not sure what's next after setting up in Zoodealio. So, Pat, what you're going to want to do is just reach out to support on that. You can absolutely, so ZBuyer is great because you get those leads and they're going to instantly come inside of Zoodealio and they're going to instantly go back to your clients. So the part I want you to understand with ZBuyer, why that's so powerful and something that could be changing in the very near future, is their ability that they're giving that one cash buyer, one home valuation lead to 5 agents. And while they're getting the triggers of you have a new lead and they're calling them and trying to pick up the phone, you're delivering the offer back to them in less than 10 seconds, right? That's where it's really key. Now, the one thing I want you to know on that path that you need to set up is making sure that we set up a filter to where when that trigger happens inside of the Zap, that you get an email from Zapier. Because everything happens automated, and I want you to be aware of when that happens. And then you're going to be notified the moment that person opens up the offer dashboard, right? So here's what I'm talking about, Pat. ZBuyer lead comes into Zoodealio. Zoodealio goes back to the homeowner. That homeowner gets a notification that they have a new cash offer. They click and open the new cash offer, and you're instantly notified the moment that they enter in that dashboard. And in certain circumstances, that's going to be a pretty quick experience. So really cool stuff. You do have a couple of different ways to do that, and if you want to know some best practices, rather than me burning up a bunch of airwaves for everybody on that, or with everybody on here on that, shoot me an email, and I'm happy to share those with you. John, my man, how are you? Let's see. Is partial lead someone who entered an address but did not complete the survey and contact info. Exactly, John. So just an FYI, you are captured the moment that they enter in the address, they trigger as a partial lead. So when you go into your Zoodealio account, click on clients, and then you're going to have clients, people that have fully registered, and then you'll also at the top have a toggle that says partial leads. Click on that, and if you have any partial leads, they'll be right there. Okay, how can I, let's see, Allie, how can I set up landing pages? Allie, on that, setting up landing pages, that is going to come down to your CRM and your ability to build different landing pages. We give you the widget, and there's several different options that you have inside of that. In order to find it, you just simply go log into your Zoodealio account, click on integrations, and then widget. And then you'll have 3 different options on there. There's one that's a pre-built code, one that's an iframe, and then one that's a little bit more sophisticated that gives you all of the custom ability to go in and customize it through the custom styling settings. Okay, perfect, awesome. Carolyn, I also sent an email. Okay, awesome. Let's see, did I? Oh, it looks like I sent that blast code to only panelists. Let me fix that. Sorry. There, now everybody's going to have it. Okay, Paul, yep. Okay, cool. So there's the code, 321 blast off is the code, 321 blast off. Like I said, what I would do on that right now, once you guys get the code, go ahead and set that up, familiarize yourself. You can go in and turn blast on in your existing leads right now. Those of you that are going to do any kind of a bulk upload, it would probably behoove you. I mean, you can do a bulk upload right now, but there's a new CSV upload that's coming out here in just the next couple of weeks. So I would highly encourage you to get your list cleaned up, get it ready. Then you're going to upload that list once that update is done. And in the meantime, you can turn blast on your existing clients that you have inside of Zoodealio. And then, like I said, T-2 weeks, we should have that new CSV upload. And again, last but not least, be on the lookout for that Blast Plus beta email. As always, thank you guys so much for staying on here. I appreciate you staying with me for an extra 5 minutes today. Again, I hope you got value out of this call. And as always, go out and crush it. And